Okay, standard candles. This is not the type of candle that you're used to. Rather, in astronomy, a standard candle is defined as follows. It's basically an astronomical object which has a known luminosity. So, if you have a star and you know its luminosity, you know that the luminosity is 2 watts per square meter. We refer to that as a standard candle. But why is this important? We're going to get to that. Because it has a characteristic quality that it possesses. Basically, if you know how much power that is radiated outwards by the star, we can therefore refer to that star as a standard candle. So we're going to go through a couple of examples of standard candles, 2 examples to be specific, so that we can be able to better understand this objective as a whole. The first one is what's known as a Cepheid variable. Okay, what is a Cepheid variable? It's basically a star whose radius varies periodically, which causes the temperature of the star to change. So the luminosity also changes or varies. So what you're looking at is essentially, you have a star, right? And you know that the star is going to expand, more like twinkle, twinkle, little star. The star is going to get bigger and smaller, bigger and smaller. So as the radius changes over time, the luminosity also changes and fluctuates over time. So Cepheid variable is actually studied in depth by a woman known as Henrietta Swan-Leavitt in 1908. So she also discovered that more luminous Cepheids had longer periods, right? Because they take a longer time to return to the same luminosity. So basically, if you have Cepheids that have a given period, they'll also have the same intensity. So if you're looking at this, if you can look at a star and observe its radius changing and getting bigger, changing and getting bigger, and if you can observe the period, you can therefore just estimate the luminosity. So stars which have a radius that changes can therefore be referred to as Cepheid variables. Let's look at an example where this is applied or applicable. The luminosity L of a Cepheid variable can be estimated from its period to be that when its radiant flux intensity observed brightness F measured on the Earth is that, we've been asked to determine the distance D of the Cepheid variable. So the luminosity can be estimated from the period. What you're doing is you're getting a watch, you're getting a telescope, you're looking at a star, and after doing that, you're going to wait for, let's say, 30 days. And if you see that it has gone from maximum to minimum, you have a little graph that helps you identify that if you have this period, your luminosity is this. This period, your luminosity is this. So you now basically know the luminosity. So you can therefore be able to find the distance. That's the point of standard candles. To say you have star A, you're on Earth. You want to figure out how long is it from star A to the Earth. If you know the radiant flux intensity, you can measure that on Earth. There's a device that can measure that. And if you're able to know the luminosity because you can observe the period, you can therefore just calculate without a ruler, without a tape measure, the distance from the Earth to that planet itself, right? So in this example, we just now asked to find the distance, which is what we normally do. So we use the inverse square law like that, because we know that F is equal to L over 4 pi D squared. So D will basically be equal to L, the square root of that over 4 pi F. So if we plug in all our values, we have 4.6 times 10 to the power of negative 10 to the power of 15, 4 pi 1.3 times 10 to the power of negative 23. You get a value of D that's going to be equal to 5.3 times 10 to the power of 18. Okay, a little side note, you must also be able to convert distances to light years, right? What's a light year? So imagine light is on a journey, it's traveling, right? The distance traveled by light in 1 year is basically what we refer to as a light year. So if you have the speed of light, we know that is 3 times 10 to the power of 8. If you have the number of days in a year, that's 365. If you have the number of hours, 24, the number of minutes, 60, the number of seconds, 60, you can therefore get the distance that is known as 1 light year. So essentially, if you just know the speed of light, you can therefore be able to calculate what 1 light year is, and you don't need to cram this. So that distance using that calculation below will basically be 560 light years. It's a very, very important calculations that you must be able to do. So a graph of luminosity and period can therefore be used to better understand the broader picture. So essentially, if you sit down and observe a star and you measure that, hey, I saw that radius before, now it's back again, that's a period. So if you measure that, you can be able therefore to estimate the amount of luminosity, because scientists have been working to just understand the relationship between period and luminosity. Okay, so if you're given this graph, if you know the luminosity of the sun, 3.828 times 10 to the power of 26, you just multiply that with a value on the y-axis, voila, you have the luminosity at that particular period. Let's look at the last example. A Cepheid variable in galaxy G1 has that radiant flask intensity and a particular distance like that. In galaxy G2, the Cepheid of the same period has a radiant flask intensity of 6.1 times 10 to the power of negative 15. Now, we've therefore been asked to find the distance from that galaxy to the observer. Okay, so same period, like I've said, means that you have the same luminosity. Now, think about it. We found the relationship between luminosity and radiant flask intensity. So now you want to figure out how can these two be linked, right? So I know that F is equals to L 4 pi d squared. Therefore, L will just be F times 4 pi d squared. So it implies that if L is the same, we can create two equations where you have F times 4 pi d1 squared, F2 times 4 pi d2 squared. So now d2 will just therefore be, you make it the subunit formula in this instance, essentially going to be F1 times 4 pi d1 squared. You divide that by 4 times F, okay, 4 times F times pi, the square root of that, right? So 4 and 4 comes out, pi and pi comes out. Then you're therefore just able to get that, right? Because radiant flask intensity, you have it, right? So essentially, and then pi comes out. So essentially, you can therefore be able to calculate the distance. So these are some of the questions where you're playing around with your understanding of standard candles and how standard candles actually work. Okay. One thing we're going to understand is what's meant is another type of standard candle known as a supernova. Okay. So you know that a star bends by using fuel, right? So if that fuel is to run out by some miracle according to God or something like that, the star just runs out of fuel, the gravity is going to crush the star from the inside out, and then a massive explosion is going to occur. So essentially, the fuel is run out, we have all this excessive mass, gravity just crushes it down. So the explosion that then occurs is referred to as a supernova. So the luminosity at the time of that explosion is the same. So if you can be able to observe, it's known as a type 1 supernova. So if you can be able to observe a supernova in one particular galaxy, you can therefore be able to say, okay, fine, I know that luminosity of that supernova because all supernovas have the same luminosity before they explode. So supernova can therefore just be a standard candle. Because if you look at this graph, we have luminosity here, we have time here. So if you can be able to pick the point at which it's about to explode, you can therefore just estimate the luminosity. Again, you can also then be able to calculate the distance between where you are and where that particular galaxy actually is. That's the whole point of standard candles. Why is it important? Because you might be interested in finding out the distance between where you are and where the candle is. So if you can just measure the radiant flask intensity, the luminosity you can figure it out because it's a standard candle. You can therefore be able to calculate the distances. That's all. So meet you in the next video. We'll be solving a lot of problems around standard candles. I really love this topic and this objective to be specific. I hope I was able to clear any confusion that you might have had.